So, as promised, um, this makes me nervous. I went and got proof. So I went and got some proof from my. I should probably look up at the camera, huh? Wow, I look. Let's move this window up here, and I'll look towards the window, and that is where the camera is. And now it doesn't look like I'm looking down. Um, so I went and got proof. I went and got testimonies from my coworkers. And tomorrow I'm going to go by the campus and try to heal people and see if I can't get more evidence so that way it doesn't look like I'm lying or crazy. Because then if I can prove the existence of God, then we won't have to deal with this sort of conversation of whether or not God exists. So, because a lot of people say, oh, God doesn't prove he exists. No, he does. He absolutely does. If you hear anything in the background, my roommate's playing video games. I should probably center myself a little bit in the right direction as I make things worse. Yeah, my camera's all blown out, but whatever. So, oh yeah, the original church went around healing people. So it was a lot harder to say Jesus didn't exist. People would just say, well, I'm not really into that. I don't want to give up my lifestyle. But the original church went out healing the sick and telling people that they could have salvation through Christ. And really it was that people were hungry for love. And right now, people are more hungry for the existence of Christ, I would say. They want a God that exists technically, not just dogmatically. People don't want to be told, like, oh, Jesus exists because the Bible says so. Well, if Jesus or God or heaven is real, let's have it be real. So, oh, and the other thing was pushing the demonic off of people. Demonic get a hold of you, kind of push themselves on you. So, yeah. So let's go through some of these and hopefully they play correctly and that I can... Point of view, just anything that happened.
Like, like what do you mean?
It's just a recording.
No, I know, but like, what do you mean?
Oh, I met Josh at work. He prayed, da-da-da. But I need your point of view.
How good it is?
Just the whole thing, like I came and prayed for you. And
Oh, yeah. Did you came and pray for me?
yeah, can you
After
speak
I
up
told-
and talk towards the phone?
Yes, Josh, I met him at work. Good person. He comes and prays for me since I've been back on leave from my feet. And it's pretty amazing. I like it.
Okay, so is there any pain at all?
Right now? No.
What was it before we prayed? Like, how bad was it last time?
Oh, it was
On
bad.
a scale of 1 to 10?
10.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All right.
it was bad.
So that was one of my coworkers, and she was having feet pain. I've told this story before, but I'm gonna tell it again. And so I prayed for her feet to be healed. And sorry, it just looks so weird when the microphone's like pointed over there. Oh gosh, how did it go? She was having feet pain, and I prayed for her and nothing happened. And that was weird. I was like, normally when I pray for strangers in a missionary type capacity, stuff works. So I came back a few hours later and I asked her, do you have any other health issues? And she goes, well, yeah. And she mentions 2 others. I forget what they were. And then 2 kind of private ones, which was funny because like she got real quiet and like she stopped for a moment and I was like, what's going on? And then she said, well, and she listed 2 that had to do with one with her chest and one with another private area. And she told me straight out, and I was like, I need to remember that this is going to happen, because if I have the chance to heal, people are going to tell me what's private needs to be healed. And so I prayed for her and prayed for her, and then her foot pain went away. And I think I prayed one more time, because it usually takes me three tries. I think God wants us to really notice that it's the prayer that's healing. That's the power of heaven. It's this gift that I've been given. So she comes back from the doctors a couple weeks later, and she's like, hey, guess what? Nothing. Nothing on the scanner. Like, I'm all healed. And I was like, whoa, okay. And so, that made sense. The reason God didn't heal her feet when I prayed is there was other things that wanted to be healed. And that actually happened at a local sandwich shop. I prayed for this kid who had cerebral palsy, and nothing happened. And I was like, well, I'll try again next time. And I prayed the next time, and I was like, do you feel any different? And he's like, no. And I'm like, well, we'll keep trying. This gift is still growing. And he goes, well, actually, I'd like you to pray for my father. And I was like, and that explains why he wasn't being healed. So that way he would take the time to ask. He's like, my dad has, this issue. I'm like, hey, man, here's my number. You give me a call. I'm there. And he's like, okay. And people really don't follow up as much as you'd think they would. But this is my objective. I want to be a full-time, in English we say shepherd and missionary. But if you look up the Greek term from the Bible, because the New Testament was written in Greek, it's evangelist and shepherd, and I like those terms a lot more. Evangelist goes out, evangelizes, and the shepherd watches over his flock. A pastor, I just feel like, is a boring teacher. I know they're not boring, but I don't want to be a guy who just like sits and tells people Bible stories. Even though there's a lot of good pastors right now, it's not for me. Yeah, but the idea of watching over a flock I find cool. I have a shepherd name too. But I'll tell you that another time.
Statement, just from your point of view, what happened, so I can help.
So what do you want me to say?
Just what happened. Like, my friend Josh came up, and I had knee problems, and
So my friend Josh came up to me, and I had knee problems and feet problems, and he healed my knee and my foot.
Cool.
So obviously I'm getting these at work, so people don't really have a lot of time to go into detail. And plus, they're not like, these aren't YouTuber influencer kids who grow up with a cell phone who know how to like tell a story. They're just like, yeah, Josh prayed for me and I got healed. What do you want to know? And I'd like to give you more, but that's a second person. I've healed quite a few people, but it doesn't mean I can just track everyone down, which is why I want to get you more proof. I healed her daughter. Her daughter was having neck issues, and she's like, you know what, fine, pray for my neck. And I was like, all right, and I prayed for her neck, and then she's like, oh my goodness, it's gone. And she told her mom, and her mom's like, bring him over. And so I prayed for her mom, and then her issues went away. And then I prayed for someone who was legally blind, and nothing happened. So that was a humbling experience. Here's the next one.
I had relief pressure in my eyes. My headache went away, and I still had dry throat, but overall it covered most of it.
So he was really reluctant, but apparently he used to do missionary work too. So I prayed for him real quick, and he had a lot of pressure in his sinuses, and he had just kind of like allergies. The temperature dropped and went back up, so I think it threw a lot of tree pollen back into the air, so we were all sneezing at work. But yeah, I need to work on he's not hypoglycemic, but he's something like it. I need to pray for that to go away for him. But he's a cool dude.
Testimony just of what happened when I healed your knee. Take your time.
Every time you hit me that point, I'll put it in my mouth.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I mean, talk with your mouth full if you got it. I don't care.
You want me to say when Joshua prayed on my knees, on both my knees, I felt good.
Is there any pain left?
No.
Okay. Was it weird or awkward, or you're just like, I'm down for prayer?
It was awkward.
Always awkward. But if your knees get healed, who cares?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. And they're still good today?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was it.
So what's funny about him is he used to be really cranky. He was like a real just he wasn't bitter, but he was just always angry. And once his knees got healed, he's just like this loving, charming, happy man. I tried to pray for his wife who's deaf, but she was just like, nah, maybe another time. And we're like, okay, he said she needs to warm up to it, and that's fine. So if you're watching this and you're starting to think like, oh my God, I want to get Josh, sorry, bring this up here so I actually look near the camera. I want to get Josh, aka Paladin One, over to my church or to my family members or towards a hospital. I'm willing to travel. I have some money if you're broke, but what you could probably do is get your church to pay to fly me out, because like honestly, like I'll live on peanut butter and jelly and I don't mind sleeping on couches, and a plane flight, a round trip, is usually only like $200, so it's usually not that hard to find a few people to pitch in 50. But I should really get my passport. What was I gonna say? Yeah, so this is what I want to do full time. If anyone wants to help, I'm going to do a lot of filming. So if you're just interested in even the entertainment value of watching, some superhero type experiences on YouTube, feel free to donate. It's a nonprofit, so it's tax deductible. I just need to figure out how to, I guess I need to write receipts for people so they can prove on their IRS that it's tax deductible. I don't know how that works. I also need to get an accountant. Oh, I need to do that tomorrow. Okay. Okay, what's the next one?
We were in the vehicle, and I had just gotten burned previously at work with some kind of chemical. And even though the wound was small, I recall that he put his hands on the wound, did a prayer, and oddly enough, it felt like a cooling sensation, almost like a ghosty hand on it. That sounds weird, but that's kind of how it felt. And then after a couple of minutes, it just didn't burn anymore, and gradually it just felt better. It also didn't leave a scar, so that was pretty cool.
Okay, so that was another coworker. And so I was telling her, she was giving me a ride home, and she had a scar from a chemical burn she got at work, and it was itching a lot. And she said, hey, pray for my scar, or pray for my burn. And I was like, okay, because it's kind of terrifying, because it's one thing to say you can do something, that's another thing to do it. And I've only had the gift November, December, January, February, 3 months. And so it's grown, and there's been special occasions when it works really, really well. But it doesn't always come at my command, because God has bigger plans than me. And so I asked her if she felt anything, and she goes, it feels like a cold heat. I was like, sounds kind of crazy. She goes, no, like a cold compress, like soothing, like a kind of like the icy hot medicine we have here. And she goes, and it doesn't itch anymore. And I'm like, well, that's something. It might be small, but that's still something. And then about a couple weeks later, I was like, hey, so, did the itchiness stay away? And she goes, yeah, and the scar's gone. And I had seen the scar. It was like a sizable scar. And she pulled back her sleeve, and there was nothing. And that really blew my mind. There was nothing. So yeah, so let's do the next one. If I can find that window. And this is the last one I have.
So what happened from your point of view?
After a morning of having my back being in excruciating pain, after hands were put around me, I did feel my back pain be reduced and significantly feel better throughout the rest of the night.
Cool.
So this was a girl who was agnostic, and I prayed for her spine because she had spine problems for, I think, 5 years. And nothing happened. I said, we'll give it 5 minutes. Maybe something will happen. I'll check back with you. And then 5 minutes later, she was good. Um, there was one more. Let me find it. Okay, I found the last one. Let's see what he has to say.
Yeah, how do you know what to say? Hold on. I guess let me start by introducing myself. My name's Luis. I met my guy Josh here at work, working at Amazon. He introduced himself. We started talking about music, and then we started talking about other things. And he had told me about his healing powers, and I was interested. He had told me a couple stories, and then I told him about my toe, and I had a problem with my toe that I was having, that it was hurting, and that right there on the spot, he just got down. He started praying. He started saying some kind words. He started talking to the Lord, and before I knew it, I didn't even notice the pain until he brought it up, and yeah, that's all I gotta say.
So, yeah, he was like, all right, you have this healing thing? I was like, yeah. He's like, heal my foot. I was like, oh, okay. What's wrong with it? And he goes, I was in a motorcycle accident. I was like, okay. And so I got down and I just prayed. And then I was like, okay, how is it? He's like, honestly, it is a little bit better. I'm like, okay. And I got down and I prayed for it again. I was like, okay, now how about now? And he's like, wow, I can hardly feel the pain at all. And I was like, okay, well, hold on. And I prayed one more time. And like, I'm in the middle of work, right? And I'm getting down, and one of my supervisors came by. He's like, are you okay? Like, I was praying for someone, and she's like, yeah, he's just praying for my, and the moment she said praying, he's like, okay, I'm gonna, he just like tried to leave. Like, he didn't want to get drawn into a conversation. I was like, I'm a missionary. He's like, I don't care. I was like, whatever, man. Yeah, so then after the third time, I was like, can you find the pain? And he goes, oh my God, no. And there was this new kid at work, and we were just talking. I was like, hey, just, I'm a missionary. If you ever have any pain or injuries, let me know. I'll pray for it. And usually when I pray for something, the pain goes away. And he goes, well, I have this ankle problem that flares up a lot. All right. And so I'm like, can you feel it right now? He's like, yeah. And so I prayed for it, and he goes, it's kind of gone. And I prayed for it again. And then he just trembled and just shot at me and just gave me like one of the strongest hugs I've ever had in my entire life. And he's like, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I was like, yeah, man, I got you. Like, hey, you ever have anyone in your family that needs healing? You just let me know and I'm there. Because like I said, this is what I want to do. I want to minister and be a missionary type person, and just travel talking about the power of heaven. So yeah, so here's some evidence. I hope it helps, because witness testimony is evidence. And you can say it's psychosomatic, I get it, which is why I'm going to keep trying to bring you more, right? And eventually, hopefully, we'll see somebody, we'll see like a hand regenerate, or we'll see somebody healed of recent death. But yeah, my goal is to find people who want to be like this, who have the heart to temper their souls like a sword towards the will of heaven and the ways of heaven, and then I will help more people have this gift. And you can get this gift too. Find your pastor and have him pray that you have the gifts of the Spirit. I'm almost positive that will work. I haven't tested it yet. I want to test it. I need to test it. I need to get that done. Maybe this Sunday. And then Joshua Shaw, his TikTok channel is I think it's Walk After Christ. He has the gifts of healing too, and he has it much more. Let me see if I can find it. It's Walk After Christ on TikTok. Yeah. And he's in Oregon, so if you want to do a round trip, you can ask him to pray for you. He'll pretty much pray for everyone to have the gift of healing, whereas I'm only going to ask for people who have the gift of healing who want to work as a paladin, and a paladin is somebody who has the heart to follow God. That's my one rule growing through life was, I don't know if I'll be successful. Because I'm successful now, but for the past 35 years, I didn't know if I would be. So my one rule was obey God. That was it. No matter what happened, obey God. If I didn't have money, I wasn't going to steal it. If I was depressed, and no matter how depressed I was, I wouldn't seek sexual delinquency, right? I would, walk away from sexual encounters that I'm not supposed to have. I wouldn't, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I would honor the things my heart knew to be true. And if you're wondering what that means, it's as we grow up, we learn things to be good, and we learn that there are tempered rules of life, and they're the 10 Commandments, the way of God. And the philosophy of heaven is love God with all your soul, might, strength. Love God with all your... I had to look it up. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your strength, and with all your mind, and love your neighbor as yourself. And that's agape, by the way. Agape means unconditional, positive regard, unconditional love. There's 3 loves in the Bible. And that's from Luke 10:27. So that's basically the philosophy of Christianity in heaven. But yeah, I hope this helps. And tomorrow I bought a big old sign from Amazon, and then I made 2 posters, and I put them on the sign, take them to campus, and we will see what happens, and then I will post it. So, wish me luck, and pray that God is with me. Love you guys.